Hello, everybody. Hello out there. Hello. Thank you for joining us and on Spreaker Podcast Radio. Also, right here on YouTube, Tomorrow's Daily Life. And we have got some special in store. But first, I want to say for those who are listening on Spreaker as well as those who are looking on YouTube, please like, follow, subscribe, comment down below, do all that. This is a special that we are starting with me and my special guest, Mr. Ronald Lanier. This is Real Talk, coming from Mr. Ronald Lanier. We're going to try something different. We're putting a spin on things, and we're going to try by creating this, maybe just some real talk coming from a man's perspective. And Mr. Ronald Lanier, thank you for coming to the show, first of all.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for having me here tomorrow. Thank you.
Hey!
Great. Thank you.
I'm glad you can make it. I know the last time you were here, you came through and we had like a 3-hour conversation and we talked about so many things. We went all around the globe.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that you will break some of that down for our listeners who may not have heard your episode, and just a lot of different things, a lot of different scopes of aspects on just weighing fatherhood and career, and I did this wine chat, Single Woman's Chronicles. With an awesome lady, Siobhan Brimage, and we're doing this, every other week. She's gonna be coming back on the show, and we're gonna be talking about a lot of different things, and that's balancing being a parent, a single parent, and just the different challenges that go with that career. And you got your career, you got fatherhood and motherhood, things that I deal with, working, doing podcasts full time, and also working full time, being a parent, and just the different challenges, and those who maybe can't see how we balance the life that we live.
Yeah.
But Ron, talk to us, my brother. Talk to us.
What would you like to talk about today?
First, I want to ask you, because we are starting this awesome, from a man's perspective, life, career, balancing. I'd like to start out by asking you that. How do you balance being a father and having a career and having that personal life, and all of these things that we have on our plate as career people? How do you balance that and still stay sane?
Well, first and foremost, knowing the reasons why you do what you do. Having a family or having a loved one that you have to provide for. It's that maturity that allows you to do what you need to do. And there are sacrifices that you make in manhood or womanhood, definitely in both aspects, to take care of your family. Because, getting up in the morning is how you provide for the little ones, because as we all know, the little ones didn't ask to be here.
Mm-mm.
So to take care of them, you have to do what you have to do. And it's a lot of sacrifice that goes right along with that.
Does it get hard sometimes?
Oh, it really does. It's you go to work, and I know definitely some of you that are in either a 2-parent home or even a home by yourself, and they have older siblings. When you go off to work, sometimes they're like, "You got to go to work again. You got to go to work." When you want those toys, that workplace or that job that you're speaking of, you have to go there, and go there for however long you do it. 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever shift, morning, midday, evening, whatever it is you do to provide for your family. That's what you got to do.
But how do you keep going? What makes you have that drive to say, I can't quit? Like, what makes you just not want to say, I am throwing in the towel. I can't do this. This is just too much. This is too overwhelming.
Well, like I mentioned before in the last interview that we had, I watched my mom do it, and my dad as well. Like I said, my dad was a hard worker, and my mother, I never saw her give up. She always pressed on and continued on and moved on and fought on, and that's all I've ever seen. Once you be given that example of what it's like to work and have a work ethic, not to give up, it's kind of ingrained in you. So once the example is set, you just have to follow the blueprint, and then if you have to improvise on the blueprint, that's what you do.
So you say work ethic. Is that, you think, Ron, is that something that is taught? Or is that something that was just in you from a young man? I mean, from a child. Because if you don't have that work ethic, can that be an effect to the man you become?
Well, in fact, like I said, I was given the example. I was given the blueprint. Everyone around me worked. Like, there was no person I could say, oh, I saw this person sit in the house all day. Mm-hmm. When you go out and work, you go out and make your money. Now, what you do with the money you make is another situation. However, watching my mother and my grandmother work and work hard, and when it came time for the weekend, you play hard. My mom always made sure that you worked. She worked her full week or whatever schedule she worked, and then when she got off, she would do things with us if she wasn't too tired, and we had to expect that because we know that she was the person that was out there working so that we could have the clothing that we need for school, or the bags, or the books, meals, and roof over our head. So like I said, the work ethic, once you're shown that, and then it's always great to have mentors, because once you not just see your parents do it, you see other adults around you doing the same thing. I wasn't in an environment where laziness was something that was acceptable.
Right. Yeah. Me neither.
It's cool to be lazy. Just lay around and do nothing all day. No, I wasn't in that environment. So,
you think that can play a factor to, the outcome of your future, as far as, once you get to that certain age and you have to go out on your own?
Yes.
Do you think if you weren't taught that drive and that discipline to, this is what you have to do, does that affect you still having that mentality?
That ultimately could affect that, but it's easy to reach someone who might have had a path of laziness or shown the route of laziness, and then say, for instance, you meet a young man or young lady and they have the same liking for something that you like. So say it's basketball. They say, oh, you like basketball. So you reach that person. You may say, hey, you like basketball? Let's go on the court. When you get on the court, you start asking questions. You find out some things. So what do you got? What do you have planned for yourself in life? What do you want to do? What career would you like? What school would you like to go to? What things do you like? Then you find out more about that person. And you find out that this person is lazy. Now you have to find a way to incite them, to push them, to help them make things practical for themselves, so they'll manifest into something later on. It just takes time. But sometimes working too much can also leave your children in boredom, and we're in an age right now where social media and computers and iPhones and these things right now are teaching your children, but if you don't communicate with them, they won't know how to be socially active. They'll be socially awkward. You'll be wondering what's going on.
So that's something that you think is really important.
Definitely so. You have to be able to communicate with your children, even if you're out there working. You want to come home, get your few 30 minutes or so, especially if you travel. Set a little time to talk to them and see what they got going on. You don't want a lazy child, and a lot of us are leading our children in that direction because sometimes when you work 10, 12 hours and then you got to sit in traffic for an hour, you're gonna need that time alone. But just give them their time, because when you walk in the door, they're gonna try and talk to you for the first 20 minutes about something that they've done, and the moment you hush them or push them aside, they're done with you for the day. I saw this I saw this pig one day, and it was a video. It was a short video, and it was basically about this guy who pushed his son off. He was working all the time, pushed his son away. So by the time he got older, and his son was older, the son didn't have time for him, and that kind of like made me reflect on a lot of things. So I was like, wow, if you push your children away, and then as you get older, you're going to need some help and assistance because we all switch roles.
So what did he do? He just
basically like he was working, and he was working so much, and then when he would push his son away. He would say, hey, maybe later, or I'll do this with you later, or maybe later. And then as he got older, the son got older. So then as he got older, he needed someone to sit and talk with him because now he's older. The mind frames and the mental switch, you go from baby to young adult to adult, then back to like a baby like mind state. And now you want to want the attention, and your child's going to be like, no, I don't have time for you now.
And that's what I was going to say. So what effect did that have on, does that have on a child growing up if you don't give?
They'll look for it elsewhere. They'll find someone that'll take an interest in them. It might, whether for the good or for the bad, that child is going to find someone that's going to listen to them. Like anyone. Everyone wants someone to listen to them. You need someone to vent to, talk to. You
think that's important for, not only for us females, too, but for men? Is that important for you to have that someone to listen to and that role model?
It's always great to talk to someone that you could vent to and then also gives great advice. You don't always want to talk to someone that's gives you cliched things all the time. Like when I talk to people, I'll say this, my emotion, or if I could have empathy or sympathy in the situation, and I can give you an example and use raw emotion with it, that's the direction I would take with the information I would give you. Now, I can give you some cliche stuff like, oh yeah, the sun always shines on every dog has its day. Nobody wants to hear that stuff, man.
No.
They want you to actually talk to them.
And keep it real.
And feel them.
Yeah.
That's why most people, I talk to a lot of people.
And take the time to listen.
Yeah, exactly. I talk to a lot of people all day. And I love it.
Well, which is why I brought you back on the show. Hi, Kay. I brought you back on the show. This is before we're going to be chatting up. I brought you back on the show because you give so much good advice. This man, he gives great advice to people. A lot of people come to you.
Yes.
About different issues, and you give such good advice. Where did you learn such great words of wisdom and advice to give to people? Because you have a couple of things going on in your life, as far as career wise, but where did you get this? Where did this stem from?
It's funny, I put a post on Facebook recently about a gentleman named Les Brown. And I remember growing up, I think I was about in the 6th grade. I think my teacher name was Miss Lazarus. And I also did with
there's a name.
Yeah, Miss Lazarus. And I also used to be in the Urban League as well. And I've always been that person or that kid that people would always see things in like, that guy right there, I want to deal with him. But my mother was a humble person. So I would start there. My mother and my father were always people that were never biased people. So I didn't have the kind of parents where, like, if you go home and say, Mom, it's the teacher's fault, and the mom is going to be like, oh, you know what, you're right, son, it's the teacher's fault. Let's go to school and find out, let's go and say some profane things to the teacher. And
so what would your mom say?
My mom would always say, well, what did you do? That kind of, you would want to go home and, because I had friends that, associates that had parents that you go home and be like, hey, my teacher slapped me. Their parents would jump up and, oh, let's go, we're going to go to school tomorrow. I'm going to cuss this other.
Instead of getting, maybe both sides.
Instead of trying to find out both sides, my mother she laid that path. She would be like, okay, well, what did you do? What did you do?
I bet that made you cause for you to kind of stop and think.
So as you get older, you start saying, okay, it's when people say that there's your side and their side and the truth. So I understood that very early. So and then being in that environment with my mom, and then hearing this speaker, Les Brown, he was a motivational speaker, and I remember I was listening to this man, and I was like, wow.
What's the most powerful thing you got from Les Brown? The most important?
Being able to touch people without physically touching them. Touching someone's mind and their heart, and without physically touching them. Like saying, hey, let me get your attention. But if I throw something out there and you bite, and now I got it, there's a certain way you look at people when someone says something that spiked or it spoke to you. You're like, and then your eyes shift right in onto you, to the person that you're talking to. And that's the look I look for when I'm talking to people. When I mention something, like a lot of times people really, it sounds cliche, but a lot of times when someone says the eyes are the mirrors or the windows to the soul, I look right into your eyes when I'm talking to you. So
I do too.
There's no way that you could get away from anything that I'm asking you or saying to you. A lot of times I'll ask people a question, and they're like, "How did you get that from that? Like what made you ask that question?" But I asked that question because I'm looking in your eyes when I'm talking to you. So I say, "Hey, what happened at this point in time?" And I've done it to people, and they were like, "How did you know I was suffering from that, or bothered from that, or I was dealing with this?" Because I saw it. That I've been able to do that since I was young.
Really?
Yes.
Hence why a lot of people probably feel comfortable talking to you, because you really are truly looking at the essence of that person.
And it's definitely different ways you could look at a seer or whatever it is you would like to call it. I've always been that kind of person. I take the time to talk to the people that I'm talking to. Like, I couldn't give you the same advice that I would give another person because it wouldn't work, because it doesn't fit. When I give advice, I'm looking at the person, how I know them, where I know them, how I met them, what relevance they have to me, so on and so forth. So it's each person has their own data bank with me. So when I'm talking to you, I gotta say, okay, boom, I know this person from this, they do that. Everything in your background generates as I'm talking to you, so I know exactly who I'm talking to. So I familiarize myself with the people I'm talking to.
And that's important. I like to think that I do that too. Because I talk to, and then, the thing you do also is you can talk to anybody.
That's true.
Is have conversation with anybody,
That is true.
And from all different walks of life. And like you were saying, you kind of look at, and you can tell who's who and the advice, and that's based on the advice you give them, know. Because you know who they are from the conversations you have. And you think, because cutting hair too, you kind of get a sense of who that person is,
definitely.
Because you develop a connection,
right?
As y'all can see, funky fresh. Mr. Lanier hooks my head up every 2 weeks. I just had to put that disclaimer out there. He's a talented man, but it does so many, and that goes back to saying you do so many different things.
Definitely, being a barber, you have to have balance, because you're not going to always cut or deal with the same cookie cut people every time. You could have a customer that's political, or a customer that's into that hood life, or you can have customers that are into being woke or being conscious. And I definitely like to arrange my conversations and things I know to deal with the people that I deal with on a daily basis.
Do you think you can talk to people from all walks of life like that?
Oh, yes.
Like,
yes.
because you cut hair, and and I know that dealing with your daytime job as well,
right.
You deal with different people
right.
and different personalities.
No,
and that goes back to saying, how do you balance it all? Because you're dealing with all this.
And see, having two parents that are unbiased, and then things that happen to me in my life, I'm not a judgmental person. So whatever you discuss with me is discussed with me. You and I, we speak on this, we talk about it, and then we'll get our part 2 or our part 30 on. As I continue to do what I do with you, this is confidential. This is not about me sharing your information with someone else. We talk about this. Now, that balance comes from the fact that I'm not judgmental. So as you're talking to me, you talk to me, it goes into my ear. I'm very analytical. So when you're talking to me, I'm thinking of another thing I'm going to ask you, but I'm listening at the same time, because I want you to know that when you're asking me for information and you feel like you're going to withhold something, trust and believe, I'm going to ask you that question that's going to give you that gut punch. Oh, I can't believe you asked me.
You said that gut punch.
I'm going to get that gut punch in. And and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people will know information on a person, and they'll be telling you a story, and they just want you to just go along with their side. But what if you just want the truth? You want me to continue to listen to you? Let's get some truth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just tell me things that you want to tell me. Let's get the truth. So a lot of times, you get that one person. Yeah, you get that one person that gives you perspective, and that's my favorite word. I love perspective. Perspective, because I'm an artist by nature. Perspective drawings, perspective drawings come from 2 different points, 3 different points, 4 different points, but they all bring it all to the middle to form whatever it is you're trying to find out. City landscapes, bathrooms, kitchen. Man, listen, I love art, and I use art every day of my life. I do. So,
and you do paint such good pictures. Yes. May I say again, the man is on point. He's truly good. Yeah, look him up. Look him up. Want a haircut. But, you be coming here every maybe couple weeks and give us some hot, fresh stuff to talk about. And also, you like audience participation. I'm sure you wouldn't mind answering questions and giving advice.
Not at all.
Because you do have a lot of experience. And can you tell us a little bit about where that experience comes from?
Basically, just dealing with different people. Started very young. Like I said, I was with the Urban League, and different phases of my life, I think back, like, I've seen and been through and talked to, and like I bring up the Urban League another time because I was the president of the New Lights group. It's basically an inner city youth group, and I was the president. And dealing with the Urban League. What do you do?
What do you do with this? You said New Lights.
The New Lights. It was like
New Lights group. Okay, what exactly
Urban
is
League. Don't give me the start line about the ITES part of it, but basically, annually we will go to like different places. I remember one year we went to DC. Then another year we went to Indiana. And we would just travel. You would just go meet other different Urban League groups. Okay. And you just meet in these different cities, and you guys would do these little workshops. One year with the DC, we went to Howard, and another year we went to
kind of like a form of like a mentor, kind of mentoring program.
Yes. Because
I really do like those too. I definitely support those mentoring programs for young men.
They would have banquets, and I was always the one they would put out in front and talk.
Really?
Like, man.
So you were the lead speaker.
Yes, I would be the person that would be talking.
Okay. What kind of things would you talk about?
Just the Urban League, the youth that I'm around, and just seeing like the different things that will happen to different people and You know, some people are shy, some people are bashful, and I was always the one they would always put out in front. And
because I don't see you being bashful at all.
No, it's
right.
And then at the same time,
you don't strike me as that bashful.
Having a family that we have like a comedic connection.
Okay. Big family?
On my mother's side and my father's side, we always laughing and having a good time. So telling jokes and being the center of attention is not hard. But I've never the attention hog. I always share the room with anyone that I'm with, and I'll definitely pull you into a conversation, and you wouldn't even know it's happening.
So you hear that, you guys?
Christopher Harrison will tell you that one.
So you start up with him, huh? Chris? He gets you.
And another couple other buddies, you know, Eric Dixon, he's good at it too. You know, but like I said,
just draw you in.
I just draw you in because I'm not one person that you have to just listen to me. I want to hear what you have to say as well, because I would never force my opinions on anyone. I will let you know where I'm coming from, and then I'll listen to you, and I'll be respectful about it. I'll never tell you you're wrong. Mm-hmm. But like I said, to get back with the whole story you asked me about, me doing speaking and stuff like that. Like I said, dealing with the different urban league groups and mentorships and talking to different people and getting people to do things that they don't want to do because they're uncomfortable, but it's more of the emotional support you can give to people. You know, if you push somebody out in front of a crowd, you know, they'll get the ill-fated deer in their head, like. Mm-hmm. However, if you say, "Hey, listen, if you take the time, I'll stay right here with you," and go from there, and you have to do that with people. I don't care if you're 2, 12, 20, 40, as long as you got emotional support from someone, they will most likely do something, as long as it's not immoral or indecent, you know, unless you have that liquid courage, and you really don't need that right now. But however, if it's coming from a good place, people know it.
Some people need that courage. Look, that's another show. That's another show. But so you come from a big family,
right? But
you still were part of a mentoring program.
Yes.
Now, is this something that your mom signed you up for, or because you were young when you were a part of this program?
I believe, like I said, when you're an inner city youth, you know, a lot of times they offer these things, and I actually can't remember how I got hooked up with the Urban League, but once I was affiliated with them, and then it was like other kids that they were coming along, and you know, like I said, it's this new like group grew. They knew like, okay, we got these kids here. We want to help them with schooling. We want to help them with their lives and all the different things like that. You know, it was like a Miss Red and Miss Tate and Mr. Oliver. I remember all those guys, and then we had shirts. Wow. We had uniformity. But like
so
I said,
you really learned a lot. It seems like it was very structured.
Mm-hmm. It was very structured. You know, when you go in there, they would always take their time to know the different children, and they knew your behaviors as well. So you know.
I think that's important too.
You do. You know, like they would. If you came up to me with something, I would listen and I would take it in, and I listen. Mm-hmm. Then some people, if they're not getting that attention at home, or they get shut down, you can't do the same thing that you do with me with someone else. So like I said, in seeing all of that, I learned it, going to youth camps and just dealing with different people.
So you did go to youth camps a lot?
I went to youth camps, went to swimming camps, and my mom had us in all different kind of things. So dealing with different people and seeing the other side of, there are some people who are confident, there are some people who are introverts, extroverts. Some people just don't want to deal with people, period. You work with people like that every day, you will never know until they tell you.
Right.
Like, hey, I work here, but I don't like people.
I like how you said that, but I don't like
it looks
people.
natural. Don't let the naturalness fool you.
I couldn't see that because sometimes they keep. A lot of times you can tell those people because they just are very quiet. Just kind of stays under the radar. Are those? Do you think people that you need to watch out for, or is that? Because can you tell those kinds of people too?
Like I said, dealing with people, a lot of times if you're dealing with introverts and extroverts, you got to approach people differently. So if you're a quiet person, you start off small. Hey, how you doing? Don't speak back. A lot of times they might be thinking like, why are they speaking to me? And then sometime later, I'm a people watcher. I watch people. Watch people mannerisms. I watch everything. I don't miss anything.
It's good to be observant.
Very. Watch.
Good to be observant.
Yeah.
That's one last thing I did want to bring up because I know you got to go and you can't, hopefully the next time he comes and visits, he will stay longer and chat with us. And he's got an interesting subject that he'll be telling. I don't want to know. He's gonna give us some juicy subjects coming up here soon, shortly.
Right.
But the last thing I wanted to ask you because you brought up a little bit ago about people not, when they're quiet introverts and stuff, and you say hi and they don't speak, and maybe so. My question was, when you see them in the hallway and they don't speak, does that bother you?
No. It doesn't bother me for this reason. You don't know what's going on with that person. You don't. You don't know what's going on with anyone until they tell you. So just because you speak to someone and they don't speak back don't necessarily mean that they're just a rude person.
So then do you stop speaking to that person, or would you still continue to say hi even though they don't say hi to you?
No.
Or would you just not stop speaking to them?
It could depending on the person itself. I could start off with a friend like head nod, like a head gesture, like how you doing?
Is it a big head nod or
I
just
do have,
a little tip?
I have a big head, so I'm like big head nod. So it's like, it could be like a non-verbal nod, like.
I thought that was a head nod though.
Yeah, this is non-verbal though.
But the first one was a head nod.
But I said, "How you doing?"
Oh.
Pay attention.
Oh, okay.
So it's like this.
So the first one is a.
So it might
how
start
you
off small
doing?
like this. How you doing? That's the non-verbal. The next time it could be like, "How you doing? How you doing?"
So what if they still
So
don't speak?
it's steps. There's steps you take. Because everyone's not your boisterous.
Well, how many
loud.
steps we got to take if they still not speaking to you?
Most people you met in your life, you met because you met through other friends, or it's easier to do that. But the funniest thing I hear from people, they'll say stuff like, "You know what? This person spoke to me, and I don't know them." How are you going to get to meet someone if you say you don't know them? You have to. Someone has to break down the barrier. Someone has to say, "Okay, this person spoke to me one time, and maybe I speak back to them." When people say, "I don't know that person," how do you get to know a person if you don't speak to them? And I understand different regions of the world, people carry on a certain way, but hey, you do you. However, when you get around people and you want to meet people, like, do you just randomly bump into people and just, "Hey, how you doing?" That's not me. I'm not gonna, like I said, it's a nonverbal, and it's how you doing? The nod down make me I don't know you. The nod up, like I might know you a little bit. "What's up, man? How you doing?" Then the verbal communication part comes, and then from that point on, if you spark a conversation, that's cool.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Lanier,
Yes.
I appreciate you coming through and giving us a quick initial visit because he has agreed to come more often and come and holler at us and talk to us. So you guys, please stay tuned for that. He will be here in the next couple weeks. He hasn't given us a date just yet, but we should have one shortly, and you guys will know as soon as I know. We dropping it on YouTube, and we gonna let y'all know on Facebook, everywhere. So check it out. The video is, so for all you guys who are listening on Spreaker, the video is on Tomorrow's Daily Life. You can check him out. He's here with this lovely thick full beard, and it looks good. Maintain, look, see, he just gave y'all a show right there. Ladies, calm down. All right, you guys. Well, until next time, please give us some thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and follow on the podcast on tomorrow's. I was about to say Tomorrow's Daily Life, but that's on YouTube if you guys are looking. But please continue to follow me on Spreaker Podcast Radio. And if you are looking for it, if you want to look and listen while you in your car, please do so. Just go to tomorrow's. What am I? Tomorrow. Just tomorrow. When you look it up, because I don't look up myself. When you look me up, do you look up tomorrow or tomorrow's show?
Tomorrow's show.
So the whole word.
The whole
word. You got it. The whole word, y'all. So look it up. Find me. All right, you guys. Until next time. Bye.